Oh, yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Inter-Outer National, where we highlight, investigate, and shine light on the lives and achievements and successes of Trinis living abroad. Now, I know you're all wondering what's going on with this man and why he cloak up so. Well, to explain, we will be going to two cold places today. So I just decided to get in the mood now. The AC is down and we're trembling. So we're going to the United Kingdom, London, specifically to speak to Sarah Woodham first. She's a designer, costume designer for film and stage, born and bred in Trinidad and exported to the U.S., trained in the U.S. and Trinidad, and she's spreading her wings, as it were, in the United Kingdom and doing some excellent work. The future is very bright for this young lady. We had a real good discussion in between her commitments, and I'm really excited for you all to have a look at that. So we'll be going into that shortly, and then we have a bit of a surprise. Should we tell them, boy? Yeah, I'll tell all you because I excited too. I got a chance to have a discussion with the Trinidad and Tobago bobsled team. So the whole team, not just one or two of them. So we had a little talk yesterday. It was fun, and we had a little technical difficulties, which I will explain when we're done after the first interview. So once we're ready, I think we'll go into this. We're going straight into first interview, which is Sarah Woodham. Lord, it's really cool in here, boy. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. We're going in live one time. I have a guest here, Miss Sarah Woodham, who is Before I tell you what she does, I should give you a little story, right? So the thing is, a few months ago, I met a wonderful lady who was willing to help me with some advice and some of her expertise in the textile and clothing printing field, right? I was looking to start a little clothing brand and thing before the show became a thing. And she was giving me a little tour of her operation and so on. And, just talking about life and her experiences and things going through that industry. And so inevitably she was talking about her family and things like that because the studio is at her home. And she mentioned her daughter, who is a costume designer. And I said, oh, really interested in what band? what band she makes costumes for? And she was like, oh, no. Not carnival costumes, but she does costume design for theater and film. I was like, where's she doing that? So she went on to describe this fantastic young lady who doing these big things on these TV shows, and I was like, really? How come I never hear about this person? And then that ended up being another talk, a talk that we're going to have now today. So all that to introduce Miss Sarah Woodham, who is currently joining us from London. You're in London or yes, in between still?
No, I'm in London now.
All right. So welcome to Inter-Outer National. Thank you for taking time out your day. What's the time there now? Because we are at almost 4 p.m. So there's the next thing about this show. I wasn't expecting to be juggling between people's schedules, between time zones. So you are what, 7, 8 o'clock now?
It's almost 8 p.m. here, yeah.
Right, look at that, 8 p.m. So at least your work day is finished?
It is finished, and then it starts quite early tomorrow.
Oh gosh. All right. So let's get into it and get as much as we can out of you from this session here, right? So usually, let me just explain this here. Usually, I like to get a little background on the guests, their upbringing, family, education, and all of that. But I feel we're going to get into all of that inevitably, right? But the first thing I wanna ask you is this: costume design, right? As opposed to wardrobe. What is the difference before we jump into the thing?
So when we say wardrobe, we're talking about the people that take care of the physical aspects of the clothing. So if you have, and that wardrobe is more of an older term for costume anyways.
Right.
And now it has since separated. So wardrobe is more like the people who sew the clothes, the people who wash them, who take care of them, who maintain them throughout the run of a theater production or during the course of a TV show that is produced.
Right.
Whereas the design aspect is just the design itself, where you have either one person or a team of people that come up with ideas to help better tell the story based on a plot that's been given to them.
So the design is informed by I guess the script plot and that kind of stuff. How much of those decisions are you responsible for as a person in charge of design? Do you get cues from the director, writer, who informs you to then go on to design the costuming?
Exactly that. I mean, I try to work with people who kind of work on a peer-to-peer level. So you're talking with the director usually to be able to suss out how they work.
Right.
And then you get brought onto the team and have a wider conversation. You kind of, as a designer, have to figure out, is he letting me design fully outright with no holds barred, or are there key elements that he or she would like to express to me, and for me to involve that sort of vision into my work? Because the whole thing is, shows don't just get done by just like one person. It's a team effort.
This show kind of does. Well, two people, but yeah, I understand. So what about the like how much leeway? Leeway is not what I wanna ask. Is how much time does that process really take? Like before, well, obviously this has to be done before production, right? So how much time do you get on average, or do you need on average to fully roll out, the costuming for a production?
Well, it depends on the size of the show. If it is sort of like an off-Broadway level of theater production, usually you have a month or 2 weeks to be able to pull off something that involves all of the meetings with all your team, all of the people who have to actually make your stuff. Also involves buying, fitting, all that. And then it can go all the way up to almost a year, depending on if you are on those multi-million-dollar TV shows or feature films, where, especially in the US, they give you a longer amount of prep time to get everything done.
Right.
So it all depends on the scope of the show and how many characters and how many costumes are needed.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm immediately seeing that scale multiplying, because for everyone you are responsible for costuming department, or what is it? What is the technical term? Is costuming department or what?
So it's the costume department, yeah. So when I do theater, I am the designer, but when I do TV and film, I've only gotten to sort of assistant designer level.
Right.
Um, and yeah. um,
But in shadowing someone as the assistant, and you're learning as you go.
yeah.
Do you have to, is it all just like purchase or source from already existing things, or do you have to create a lot? Do you have to put together looks and actually make the clothes a lot, or is it something that once you know what style or period you're going for, there are things that are like really readily available?
Um, all those depend on a lot of factors. So for like modern shows where it's gonna be people from today wearing clothes from today,
Right.
most of that you can source. If the script calls for a specific item to be a specific color, to be a specific brand or pattern or things like that, then you can get into custom made stuff. So for some of these shows, we've had like bespoke suits made that cost like 5 to 10 grand each, for different
Who gets
characters.
to keep those?
And then it could be as simple as, you buy a jacket and you add things to it. It all depends if it's something that's more fantasy or sci-fi or something that's made up. Then you have more leeway to then create your own world. So I worked on the Netflix production, The School for Good and Evil. And it was sort of like a fairy tale high school witchcraft kind of
Yeah,
smash
it's
up.
like a kind of Harry
Yeah.
Potter-ish kind
So
of, yeah.
exactly. But with all the like, it's like Riverdale meets magic meets fairy tale princesses kind of stuff.
Right,
So
yeah.
that was very interesting to work on, because you get to mix modern elements. So you get to buy very interesting designer boots. You get to buy things with interesting silhouettes from a modern perspective. And then we had a huge room of like 20 people maybe or more, to then make all of the custom made elements, because we had gowns and ball gowns that were like a big flower. We had like Cinderella kind of style dresses. It's like really intricate stuff.
Right.
And and as a designer, you have to think about all of the details for each character, for each look, down to the beading that goes on to it, down to the type of fabric, if the fabric tells a story, if the texture of the fabric tells a story, if
Wait. What do you mean by if the fabric tells a story as opposed to the actual, shape or the overall costume?
so the costume has different elements to it in terms of you have your silhouette, that helps to tell us what time period we're in.
Oh.
If it's a uniform, if it's an astronaut, if it's a fairy princess, if it's a queen from the Elizabethan period, so that grounds you in your timeline. Then you have things like your color story, whereas you'll think about things like using like a more pungent red to then tell a story of somebody who's trying to maybe stand out. It's like how we see things like in Wes Anderson type movies where there's a color palette that's used, and it's used to kind of create this whimsical world.
Yeah.
Or things like I can't remember the name of the movie. I think it's Amelie, where they use the color palette of red and green to, if you see red on a character, it means one
Right. Yeah.
particular
I know
thing.
exactly what you mean.
Exactly.
There's a kung fu movie that does that a lot. I think it was Hero or something like that.
Yeah, even like Frankenstein as well, that just came out. The director was adamant that the color red told a story. So anytime you saw it, it was like blood, but it was also like the memory of Dr. Frankenstein's mother and things like that.
Wow.
So color helps you tell another it's like many levels to it, and it tells a deeper level of the story that you want to sort of give to the audience.
Right. So all right.
Yeah.
So working with all those things that you have to consider, right? You must have a really wide and specialized kind of vocabulary then, because if you're talking about color telling a story, shape telling a story, lighting, material, you mentioned beads just now, all of those things, everything that is seen is given a different element of what the director or the writer wants to come out from the production. So how do they communicate all of that to you, or is it just a brief you get and you give them options, or is it very specific, or is that different by director?
It's different by director. Usually you get kind of a brief, and it's sort of my job, or the job of a costume designer, to translate the emotion or the storytelling of the plot into costume. So I will then say, oh, you have, this particular character who is always sad. Let's put him in grays and blues and things that look more sad. Or it's sort of my job to, yes, come with a vocabulary that does speak to costume, that does speak to clothing and fabric and color, and sort of make up a world or make up an idea that's visual to show them. Yeah. So part of the language includes mood boards. So after you've had those discussions with the director and with your team, and you've read the story like over and over, you go and you sort of go in search of inspiration, and you find different elements and you sort of collate all of that stuff together, and create a mood board. And sometimes it's just a general one that depicts the color scheme, and then you can get pretty specific per character that you have to dress. Right.
Okay. I think we at a point where we could take a little break, and when we come back, I wanna discuss how you gathered and how you amassed that vocabulary. So we'll check in a bit.
Need to raise funds for your next creative project, event, or invention? Or maybe you or a family member are raising funds for much-needed medical treatment. Now, you can get started raising that much-needed cash via Donate68.com, the newest 100% homegrown crowdfunding platform in Trinidad and Tobago. Donate68.com accepts donations from all major credit cards, but not only that, for those without a credit card, you can use your everyday Visa debit card to make donations. So log on today and create a campaign for your next passion project, startup, or cause. Share your campaign with your community of family, friends, and supporters to get the financial backing you need. Donate68.com, funding your culture.
Hey, welcome back. We have Sarah Woodham here talking about this amazing fantasy creative world that she is part of, doing costume for film and theater. Like I said before we started, I thought when I heard she was a costume designer, that she was, working for a mass band like a Tribe or a U.R or something. But it's definitely not the case. So where did you start into getting into this industry, this world of creating imagery and telling stories through costuming?
Well, I mean, it all starts from how you're born, Both of my parents are teachers.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I grew up watching them explore many different mediums. Because my mom would do, she would do set design, costume design. She would paint. She would do ceramics. And so from there, you kind of can see what your possibilities are very quickly.
And she's,
and then
I must say, credit to your mom. She's very open and generous with sharing information and her experiences. So shout out to Greg. I know you're watching.
Yeah, she was a teacher for decades, so that spirit is kind of
helped
still
and
there.
guided a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, she will always be a teacher at heart. That's the same for my father as
Definitely,
well.
yeah. And your father is into graphic design as well.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So definitely we know we could see where you have the understanding of the colors and the textures and the storytelling and all of that. So what about amassing the vocabulary specifically for film and theater? How you got into which one was it first though? Film or theater?
Well, my first love has always been film and TV. Because when I was a young child, I was sick quite often. I used to have asthma, and as I would stay home on those school days, the TV was right there.
Oh, that is your babysitter.
Exactly. Well, besides the actual babysitter that was there, but I just fell in love with movies, and always kind of had that in the back of my brain. I was always good at art and tried to get good at painting. I mean, I was technically very good, but I never really had much to say through that particular medium.
Right.
I always loved reading books, and so you get into it from that kind of perspective. We always had books in the house. We were always encouraged to go to the library. My best friend's mom would take us every Saturday to the library, to the National Library. And she was like, go anywhere you want, look at any book that you want, and
pick
read.
one.
Just read. And we would take home not one book, but like 14. Just because, you could just sit down and almost, if you couldn't escape the borders of Trinidad, well, not that you want to escape, but if you couldn't see beyond it in your regular life through your imagination.
Yeah.
And then from there, I kind of always knew that I was fascinated by the costumes because I used to watch a lot of old movies, like 1950s movies, because classic movies was on the TV.
Right. Even in black and white?
Even in black and white, they used to have colored shows as well.
Yeah.
But even in black and white, like, there was just something about how those designers back then did their thing. There's a person called Edith Head who worked for decades, and she's responsible for some of the most amazing looks in a lot of those classical movies.
Right.
So I kind of read up on her as well, and just by being kind of curious and kind of voracious for information, just because of the, you get encouraged to learn and to read. You kind of go into that world. And then when I graduated high school, I kind of, both of my parents being artists, we couldn't afford to go to any, grandiose universities. So when I saw that ETT had the Caribbean Academy of Fashion and Design,
right,
I said, okay, let me go to that one. Because if I can't do, film and TV and theater right out the gate, I can at least know that I can get the foundational training.
Right, garment construction and all of that.
Exactly. So when I went, I was the second year ever to go through the program.
Okay.
And that was when they still had like the dean and stuff from FIT, and a lot of teachers from like New York who had come down specifically to build up the program,
right,
and then pass it on.
Okay, good.
So from there, I mean, the kind of foundation that school built up, those skills that they taught me, I still use today. Because the Sandra Carr, the dean of the school, I think she wasn't at the time, but I think maybe is now, was very aware, and like all of the people who founded the program were very, very much aware that if you are learning from Trinidad, you are a small fish, but You can learn how to swim with the best of them if you can learn all the skills that they have.
I like how you're talking. That is
Right.
the things we need people to hear on this show. Continue, please continue.
Yeah, so they were very much aware, like, we need to learn how to sew, how to sketch, how to construct, how to pattern make and pattern draft. We need to know how to, go and create garment decks in in Adobe, suites and stuff. They taught us all of that, and I still use all of those techniques today.
Right. So your foundation was very strong.
Very strong, and they kind of, they wanted us to be very strong at it as well. So, kudos to them. They did a very good job, at least for me. What happens to you after you graduate is up to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you do what you can with what you are given. And I know back home there's lots of challenges, which is also part of the reasons why I had gone, but I still appreciate it greatly. Still, want to go back at a certain point, but for me, I kind of wanted to make the step to learn it in already established industries where they've been doing it for decades and decades, and to learn from people, and I'm still learning till today.
Right. That's great that you in a industry that you're mentally not exhausted or feel you're hitting a wall, that you're still learning. Any chance of returning and sharing your expertise? Any intentions of doing that?
I'm not going to say no. there's always a possibility, but at the given moment, not right now. But hopefully at some point I can.
Yeah, as you say, you're still learning, so there's a fruitful future ahead, I'm sure. But tell us about some of the productions that you have worked on, both in theater and film, and recognize the School of Good and Evil. And I was looking through your IMDb. So give us a few examples of things, and probably challenges more so, or challenging ones that you've worked on, and maybe how you pull the rabbit out of the hat with them.
Oh, that's a very good question. I did my master's in theater. So when I graduated from that program, it was a 3-year program. I had moved to New York and was designing and assisting at the same time. I remember having to move to different states just for the production timeline itself. So I did. There's a play called We Were Everywhere, and it was a dissertation, or like their main play that they were putting on in Princeton at the time, for the graduating actors. I've moved to I think it was Massachusetts, and had done for another school and for their acting program a play called Dr. Faustus. It's a very old play, where there's an ensemble cast, and it's all young, very young actors who are doing their bachelors. And it was, the director wanted to set it in 1980s Germany, where you have all the punks, and you have all the Gestapo around, and you have just different interesting aspects. They had the underground.
So the time period is what, pre-Berlin Wall?
I think it's post Berlin Wall.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And where they would have underground dance scenes and drag scenes, and how those influenced popular culture, and how we could kind of build that into some of the characters. That was really fun.
Right.
Because in that story there were the 7 deadly sins, and designers famously kind of have fun with the portrayal of those different sins, greed and lust and hatred and stuff.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun to do because we took some of the underground drag elements and sort of vamped it up for each type of sin. So that was fun. And then after I had spent like a year in the States after I had graduated, I moved to the UK and had tried to. It took me about 6 months to break in to even find anybody that would let me do a show or let me.
Oh, this is just like to find work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I got a break. I got a break just through the grapevine, through the Caribbean grapevine, and because my dad is Ghanaian, so through the African grapevine as well. I was able to get in contact with the designer, and so my first show was for Apple TV. Oh, and it was, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the show now.
You'll find it.
But yeah, it was a modern show, and it was about a couple who were young but just couldn't have a family of their own, and but they were kind of quirky and the characters were funny, and so it's sort of a heartfelt like comedy / drama. And that was my first one, and I was the trainee on that one. That was really interesting to work on because you're sort of, learning from the rest of your team. You're learning from the designer. And I did a few other shows with her after that. Like I said, I worked on School for Good and Evil with an American design team. And yeah, they just sort of, because of the budget of it, there was a lot of leeway where you could source things. I was just like scouring the internet for accessories and fabric and items they could use, and looking at like things that mimicked like armor, things that mimicked like nature, like so using a lot of felt wool to recreate like animal fur or even flowers or things like that. And yeah, you get to, create your own rules for this particular world that you're building, because it is world building when you go into a completely new kind of when it's fantasy.
Right.
And then I've worked for the past 3 years, I've worked as a costume standby on Death in Paradise. So Death in Paradise is one of their almost like cozy murder stories that they have.
And this is all UK based.
This is all UK based. But for Death in Paradise, they shoot it in Guadeloupe. And I had never heard of that show in terms of like from a crew perspective, they're hiring people to do this. Let's go see what it's about.
Right.
I had never heard about it, but I had watched it on like television with my grandmother. And that was kind of a nice kind of memory to have, and then work on the show after.
Right.
But yeah, again, like you have new design teams every year. But the same like very nostalgic or like fan favorite characters that come there every year.
I feel you're holding back, Sarah, because I say I feel you're holding back because I could remember peeping and seeing something. You worked on the three-body problem as well?
Yes, I did, yeah, as the costume junior. Yeah.
Right. So tell us about that set, because there is a the underlying thing is a sci-fi series wildly popular. How were the looks informed for that series, and which ones did you have quite literally have a hand in?
So as the crowd costume junior, you deal with all of the supporting artists that are in the background. So anybody who's in uniform any big like crowds of people, passers by. We did all of that because it involved like a lot of SWAT. It involved a lot of
Yeah.
futuristic looking people. It involved like the frozen people in the in the water.
Yeah.
It involved like people from different parts of the world. It involved like people from 1960s China and we had an
The
amazing
Chinese
designer
military,
on
all
that.
of them as well. There was I could remember Chinese military being in that as well.
Exactly. And so we had an amazing designer on it, with really amazing research skills that always shared with us like exactly what they wanted, and they had almost sourced everything. The supervisors for the crowd, part of the team, sourced everything that we needed, and we were there dressing like 150 people every day for some of those scenes because
Wow.
it's a lot. It's a big production.
Yeah, that was a big budget series.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming back for the next season?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I
you
thought
know.
as it came out my mouth, I was like, oh, this could be like one of those Marvel situations where you can't talk about the future of the series too much. But
No, you get slapped with a lot of NDAs in this business. You can't talk about things that are
yeah. So
things
you
that are
so
yet
you
to
can't
come.
even admit there's another season, right? So
No.
no.
I mean, to be honest, I also don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. It's show business, right? Okay, so wait, we didn't cover the high school. You did high school in Trinidad, then UTT,
Yes.
right? What was the high school? What was your secondary school?
I went to Bishop Anstey High School.
Bishop Anstey, then UTT, then
Yale University, Yale School of Drama.
Sarah, why are you so understated and modest? That's a big deal. You went to Yale, right? So UTT to Yale, right? Please expand on the cultural differences and the major differences with those two facilities.
Well, for UTT, I mean, because there was such a new program, you could kind of get a sense of they're self-aware that they are like the underdog, that they have to prove themselves, and they have to make sure that it is the best program that they possibly can, in order to, make students want to come back.
Right. Makes sense, yeah.
Whereas with Yale University, it's a whole different ball game. It's, a school that is centuries old. It is an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
Where you can feel the difference in the culture that is long established before you get there.
Yeah. How did it feel?
expectations.
How did it feel? Coming from Trinidad. How do you get into Yale in the first place?
Well, this is actually kind of interesting. So Winston Duke, when he had now graduated, the guy who plays M'Baku in Black Panther, he is Trini, Trinbagonian, and he came back to Trinidad to work with the National Theatre to do a play,
Right.
and I designed the play, and that was one of my first theatre jobs on my own,
Right.
after having graduated from UTT. And he said, "Oh well, if you want to go and do costume design, Yale is pretty good, because they have really good scholarships. It's a really good social network, and the people who graduate from there kind of go on to do pretty great things. So if you wanted to do that, you could put through your application now and see if you get through."
Right.
So I said, "Oh, that sounds very interesting." I took his advice.
Yeah.
I took a month off from work in December. I did up a whole portfolio and designed like, I think 4 shows or 5 shows. and I kind of showed the kind of work that I was doing before. Put it through, did interviews with them, curated, like even with like my background and everything. Only to be told initially, oh, well, you didn't get through. Sorry. But I had sent like an email afterwards saying, thanks so much for
telling them why that was a
then,
mistake.
well, no, it wasn't a mistake. I really hadn't made it through, but somebody dropped out. Somebody decided that they weren't going to go that year, and the next person up was me.
Well, look at that.
Because I had just kind of been persistent. I was like, hey, thanks so much for letting me go through the process. And, is there any feedback you could give me about how to do better next time and how to more succeed? And I guess that kind of, I guess I kind of stuck with them. And they let me come through. So literally with like a month to spare, like people had like 4 months to get ready. With a month to spare, they said, okay, you could come.
Well,
and I had to get myself in a gear.
Right.
Because
that is moving to the States, that is preparing for school and all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And finding a place to live and organizing how to even afford any of these things.
Right.
And luckily for me, like my community just rallied around me. So my family, my friends, people who I've known in my neighborhood for years, even people from like when Massey Stores was high-low, right. they donated. They had a couple of articles that went out. And I did an art show / fashion show, and that's how I raised money. And that bought me and my dad a ticket, two tickets to go to Connecticut.
Right.
And a month or two of rent. That's what that money got me.
Right. So that you're getting to the Daisy. One of the things I like to highlight the real life, because some people think, when and it's easy to think so because you just don't know, right? When you see people achieve stuff and be successful elsewhere, a lot of people just think that, all right, so she was doing art and she went to and she got a scholarship and went Yale and this and that and that and that. And the thing is just things that fall in your lap now, not knowing, the background. So you were working, this is after UTT or during?
This was after UTT. So
right.
after
you're
UTT,
working,
I had actually
what
started.
Was the job?
No, I started a business with my mom.
See?
We were doing fabric design.
Right.
Fabric, like surface design, and we were also making products from it. So designing the pattern on the fabric, cutting it up,
the entire textile. Yeah, she gave me everything. The tour, and that is amazing work, by the way.
Yeah, and it was hard work. We were hitting up different.
Yeah, I saw the table where you had to pull the ink on the fabric and stuff. That is serious physical work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting chikungunya.
Oh.
And that had me down for 2 weeks. And the minute I could stand, I was back on a table making fabric, putting dye on fabric. Because when you are a small business owner, the labor that you're able to put into it directly reflects what you get back out of it.
Yeah, definitely, because you're doing the work, right? So, yeah, exactly. So you took a little time off from that, I guess. Well, obviously that one would understand why. And you developed your portfolio and your application, and boom, raised funds and got the funds and got to Yale, Connecticut, right? And then what?
Then I spent the next 3 years working very, very hard. Working very, very hard.
Yeah.
you tend to have this imposter syndrome kind of sneak up on you when you kind of go into those spaces.
Right.
And because the drama school is a little separate from the main university, you have people who are older, people who are more settled and know what they want to do in life.
Right.
You have people, and it also attracts more normal people in terms of, working class, lower class, middle class people, not just the people who are affluent that can afford. And the dean was kind of very much aware of that too, because when he's an ex-alum, and he says that in his speech all the time, where you will come in and you will have this imposter syndrome where you're feeling like, do I belong here? You sure you picked the right person? But you kind of have to turn it on its head and almost like a hustler, being like, oh yeah, I tricked these people into thinking I could be here. I tricked these people into thinking, oh yeah, I have this talent, I have this, I have that. And you just, it kind of gives you the energy, or like, I don't know, like just the mental thought to like, just go ahead and see what you could do. Yeah. See what's possible.
But then you do it and you get through, and there's the validation, because I guess it's not just academic, but especially in your field, you have physical things to show that you did this work, and is a testament to what you've been through. So so how was the journey through school then? So that was the beginning, and you're finding your way, and it's a little uncomfortable here and there, but how was the overall journey and that experience? Would you recommend it to other people, especially coming from here to an environment like that?
I would highly recommend it. It is a rigorous program. It is a very rigorous program, but what has happened now is there's been quite a large donation to the school, and the name of the school has actually changed from being Yale School of Drama. It is now the David Geffen School of Drama at Yale, where David Geffen gave the school millions, if not billions of dollars. I'm not quite sure of the amounts, but now that school is free. The tuition to that school is free in perpetuity.
In perpetuity.
In perpetuity.
So
he said he wanted his name on that school.
You just had to make the cut, and you're inside.
Exactly. And if you feel like this is something that you want to do and you're serious about it, and you want to explore and you want to learn from people who've been in the industry and people who have been designing Broadway shows and been designing the sets and the costumes, and who have like Tony Lifetime Achievement Awards, like, go. Right. I would definitely recommend it. Because at the end of the day, people with all those achievements are very normal people who literally just want to impart on you the knowledge that they have to make sure that you understand how to tell a story.
Right.
And it's the basics, like the simpler and the more effective your communication with the students.
Right.
And how you teach them to be effective communicators to their teams and to the people that they will, in turn work with. That's the best that they can do.
Right. Nice. I like that. But we'll stick up in the discussion here and take a little break and come back. I want to talk about the future with you when we do.
Need to raise funds for your next creative project, event, or invention? Or maybe you or a family member are raising funds for much-needed medical treatment. Now, you can get started raising that much-needed cash via Donate68.com, the newest 100% homegrown crowdfunding platform in Trinidad and Tobago. Donate68.com accepts donations from all major credit cards, but not only that, for those without a credit card, you can use your everyday Visa debit card to make donations. So log on today and create a campaign for your next passion project, startup, or cause. Share your campaign with your community of family, friends, and supporters to get the financial backing you need. Donate68.com, funding your culture.
Yes, and we're back with Sarah Woodham here. We're talking about the journey in a fantasy world and the reality of working in fantasy. We covered the journey through school, through Yale, going through the rigors of that industry, costuming for theater and film. TV too? Well, I guess film, yeah, TV. You did advertisements and things like that as well?
Yeah, a couple of them, yeah.
Like any we would recognize and say, hey, look, it's we girl who do that, you know?
Well, I did the sort of promotional stuff for a TV show that came out on I think it might be Channel 4. So nothing that y'all would recognize. And then I did an ad I did the content shooting for YouTube's rollout of their new editing suites stuff. So nothing that would nothing famous like that. No.
Oh no, that's what you think. But I'm sure there are things that that people would recognize for sure. I mean, why we so modest, boy? We had who we had? Oh, we had Keshav Chandradat Singh here. He was the first guest actually, and through his production duo just now. They did ads for Apple, for iPhone launch and things like that, and it's like I had to, because he's a friend of mine, I had to chuck him. I had to chuck him for him to to mention things like that. I mean, we out there and we achieving things. I guess last week, Zane Rodolfo, I guess you all would have heard some of his production going on in the studio next door. Was asked by Guggenheim Museum to produce work for an artist, and if you know what I'm saying, so if we don't chuck them, and because y'all working so hard, and you're very focused in the things that you're doing, and you're moving from one thing to another. I could understand that, right? But when you're talking about yourself and your achievements, talk about the things now, man, and let me feel proud of you, because you are making us proud, directly and indirectly. Get Millie Black. Tell me about that production.
So that was the TV series that I was the assistant designer on. So it's UK based, but it's also co-produced with HBO, and it was shot in Jamaica. So I'm responsible for, I think, episodes 1 to 3.
Yeah,
so half the show.
Yeah, when I peeped on the IMDb, I think I saw 3 or 4 episodes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that was an amazing experience, because it was a nice sort of collaboration between UK TV crew members and then Caribbean people. So I was sort of the person who was kind of
in between. You translating, you what do call it? Code switching and all of that.
Exactly. Because not only are you having to then go into rooms where you have to explain the design or explain why this particular character has to wear a specific thing. Shout out to Ruka, who was the costume designer on that for the episodes 1 to 3 as well. Right. You also have to be able to speak to the locals who
exactly
do a lot of work. There's a lot of work that gets shot in Jamaica, but you have to be able to speak to them, to say, okay, this is the kind of clothing I want. This is the kind of person I'm shopping for. It's like, it's a chief of police, but she's in a woman's suit and she has to look powerful, but also feminine, and she has to wear this kind of thing and these kind of colors.
Yeah, and there's the vocabulary again. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to communicate when you actually, when you talk to a professional or somebody like yourself who is has the solid foundation and is extensively trained in your field, right? You really get an appreciation and an understanding of how much is actually communicated, how much work actually goes behind. It's not just, all right, we are 10 people, get them different outfits and make sure they stand up in the right spot, and action is not that at all. You said it could take from a month to a year to just come up with the costuming.
And especially when you work in TV, you're working throughout the whole production because you are prepping, your first episode. And once that episode is often getting shot, you're still now prepping for the second episode before you finish.
And
right?
it's very fast paced because you shouldn't seem to see it. Right. Yeah, I've worked on sets and been a fly on the wall in productions, and you people, you all don't stop moving because as you get somebody out, you have to prepare the next one, and you have to have all these things set out and organized, because the more time you take, the more time you take is the more money that is spending. So that's a serious thing.
For things like that, you try to design with a purpose. So I kind of got onto that team because I was trying to connect like Caribbean designers,
right,
with this UK show where you want to have Caribbean clothing or Caribbean fashion on Caribbean characters,
right.
You try your best to like make stuff happen. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But as long as you kind of go in with that intention to work holistically, because not everybody does that. Some people work more conveniently where you just say, I just need a suit, I'm going to buy it from this popular store. Whereas I could say, but I know a suit guy around the corner who makes amazing stuff and would be just as cost effective. But now I have hired or I have given money to somebody local.
Right. And
that's the kind of way that I then try to work.
I appreciate that, because that brings up the idea of community, right? So how, and well, using Get Me the Black just now as an example, how else do you tap into, who would you consider is your community in the UK in your field, and how do you engage them? How do you tap into your community? How do they support you?
So the way that I was able to break into film was because I kind of met these two girls who created this group called the Black Costume Network. So one lady is called Jody Simone Howe, and the other is called why am I blanking right now? The other's called Rihanna Charles. Because there are two Black women in the UK, and there had been issues with diversity and inclusion before in the film industry,
right?
Where they were just hiring for the sake of hiring like one person of color, just to kind of tick off a box. And it was kind of that a lot of the people of color, a lot of Black people in the UK and were involved in costume kind of didn't have a forum and a safe space and like almost people to like vet them and to share their information with different productions. So that has been my solid community since I've been here.
Nice.
A lot of the jobs that I have gotten has been through them. So, when they say Black Costume Network, you're talking about Caribbean people, you're talking about African people, you're talking about African American people, you're talking about Black UK people, all kind of being able to come together, because they would kind of make different events for people to kind of mix and mingle and to talk.
And to network and stuff, yeah.
Exactly. And so anytime that we are trying to crew up a show, we try to go through them anytime that we have to think about people, our makers, our dyers, people who have to distress fabric, people who have to work with the actors on sets and dress the actors on sets, we go through them.
Right.
And then, you kind of think wider in terms of if you're supporting Black enterprise, then you go on to, people who have made products. So I worked on Dreaming Miles Black season 2, and the designer, who's also Jodie Simone Howe, she wanted to make sure that she had almost like a list of Black designers. She also did a shout out on a lot of different social media to be like, hey, if you're a Black business, if you're a Black designer, if you have our Black brand, we want to hear from you. We want to use your stuff, put them on our characters, and we want to be able to work you guys into our show to kind of give it that authenticity of who the characters are, which are Black people working in. It's almost like not a catch-22, but it's like art reflecting art, where the story is about a Black man who works in an office, trying to become a director, trying to write his own scripts, trying to break through in the film industry.
Right.
And him being partly Jamaican, well, not partly, but being born in Jamaica, but then in Britain, and how that reflects his identity as well. How he has friends who are then also like Nigerian or Ghanaian, but also British.
But that is life. that is London life for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they, she sort of designed with intent. She designed with wanting to make sure that she almost like bigs up all of these different Black enterprises.
Nice.
Along with mixing things, with popular brands that are like mainstream, and kind of doing a nice mesh of the two.
Yeah, I mean that could also inform the future of certain looks. I mean, if you're tapping into designers in a specific demographic, geographic location, then you could bust certain looks, and if it try things out, it could work. I like it.
I mean, she's been pretty brilliant in terms of the design for the show too, because in the series itself, you kind of get a visual look into this guy's imagination. So you'll see, like, you can kind of look up articles about how she's done it and the kind of releases that it's had, because it's already released now, where essentially they kind of do a almost a Bridgerton style show, but with the show that the character has to design or has to direct. Sorry, it's it's a Black man and Black woman as the leads, romantic leads, and instead of just kind of sticking to what you would think of as classical period wear for that, because they're doing it in the same empire period, she was like, no, I want to use African prints. I want to take that silhouette of that dress and I want it in Dutch wax print. I want to take
wait,
accessories
hold on.
modern but made from a Black brand.
The silhouette of like a Victorian dress.
So I think the Victorian period came after, but it's Edwardian. So it's the period before, where it's high waistline.
Right.
It's the same. It's the same silhouette or the same time period as Bridgerton.
But in African prints.
But in African prints.
See what I'm talking about? That's mad.
Yeah, and she, as the design head, went forward to the bigwigs and fought for her vision.
Nice.
She got the writer of the show, who's also the lead in the show, to kind of see what her vision was and also be there to bat with for her in different ways. Like, and she'd gotten her team to kind of rally with her to then be like, yo, we want to see this vision through. We want to get these African prints because it's when it's just only the African print is only used when it's that guy's imagination.
Right.
Because
Okay.
he's seeing himself as the romantic lead and he's seeing that lady as his romantic lead, and he is influenced by African culture. And so when he's seeing them, it kind of does a twist, you know?
Nice. That's sounding extremely interesting. But listen, here's what I want you to do for me. Boys, where we'll put it on the Instagram page. I want to get some clips, or just give us the names of like 5 interesting productions that you have been on, and something like what you just described, and we'll put up some clips as examples, probably as much as we could, copyright allowances taken into consideration, and we'll start a discussion on the Instagram page, but I think we have more than enough content for this particular interview. I don't know if I mentioned to you before, you have to do 2 interviews, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, one is, well, because the show is international, we do an interview with you in your environment, which is generally the outer-national part of the interview. And whenever you find yourself, you know, on the soil in Trinidad, we are cordially inviting you into the studio for a less formal, more casual kind of catch up. It's more of a lime, really. You come, we talk some things, we expand on something that we probably didn't get to talk about in depth. And I guess I'm sure after people look at this episode, there'll be a lot of questions and probably the beginning of another discussion in terms of especially getting designers in the eyes of people in charge of costuming and you know, the aesthetics in television and film production. So your invitation is there. We'd love to have you in person, and yeah, I think we in a safe place to wrap. What is the, because you told me you were in between jobs, you at liberty to mention anything that you're working on right now?
Though.
Oh gosh, I thought I would get you there.
Those NDAs are very strong.
Yeah. I know. I try
your
to.
word is your bond.
I try to pick the luck, but I also don't want you to get in trouble because.
I mean, my friends are always asking me.
Oh really? So you're always your kung fu is strong.
Yeah, I'll tell once the thing gets released,
right,
and the episodes are out there, I'm happy to talk.
Nice.
But you know,
so yeah,
I don't think I've done that many secrets, that many secrets or big shows where it's like, ooh, I haven't done a Star Wars yet.
Listen, we had to.
You know what I mean?
Make sure we had to protect the bag, right? So we ain't gonna get too wild and probe on those things too much. I just, you know. If you're gonna talk about the Marvel thing that you're working
I
on.
think the only thing I could probably say is like, it's just action, modern, like a heist almost. But that's as far as I can say.
Gosh, girl, you know what? You have a feeling like how people feel about the guest pictures. I had to say action thing. Yeah, you you're beating my brain right now. But thank you. I must say, thank you for slipping us in between your busy schedule. I know it's quite late where you are, probably the bedtime, and you said you have a job to go to tomorrow. So I appreciate the time. I enjoyed the discussion a great deal. I learned a lot. I like doing the show because you get to learn the intricacies of these people, things that you see from the outside in, and getting internal information and a nice insight in an accent that you could understand is always appreciated. So thank you, Sarah Woodham. We look forward to catching up with you when next year touch the soil, when next year home. And take care. Thank you for joining us. Anything you want to leave your UTT alumni with? Any words of encouragement? Any advice?
I mean, Trinis will always think that they are, small fish in a very big ocean that is the world. And I think we don't realize how much influence we have on the world culture until we leave it. Right. And we realize that the little things that we do in earnestness and being true to the culture or being true to our own visions has such a large impact, and there are people who respond so well to those things and are hardcore followers of our music and our culture and Trinidad as a whole. So I'd say don't count yourself out. As long as you are true to who you are, I think you'll go quite far. Nice.
I could not have said it better myself. That is the exact sentiment we want resonating from this show to the audience, to the people who will watch it in the future, especially. To see people, that have made inroads in different fields and different levels of endeavor, say that, listen, we have worth, we have value, and you just have to be ready for your opportunities. So thank you very much, Sarah Woodham.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We'll have a little line when you come down.
All right.
Take care. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.
Need to raise funds for your next creative project, event, or invention? Or maybe you or a family member are raising funds for much-needed medical treatment. Now, you can get started raising that much-needed cash via Donate68.com, the newest 100% homegrown crowdfunding platform in Trinidad and Tobago. Donate68.com accepts donations from all major credit cards, but not only that, for those without a credit card, you can use your everyday Visa debit card to make donations. So log on today and create a campaign for your next passion project, startup, or cause. Share your campaign with your community of family, friends, and supporters to get the financial backing you need. Donate68.com, funding your culture.
Yes, Ollie, it's still cold in here. We method acting right now. Hey, that interview was good, eh? Listen, Sarah said so many things that I want to say, but I don't want to be biased and point people in that direction. But listen, people, Trinidadians doing real important, real impressive things in the on the world scene, and all we always seem to find a way to be innovative and to kind of shine above others a kind of way. But underscoring that is also the work ethic, right? Apply yourself, learn your craft, be diligent in what you're doing, and be ready for your opportunities, right? So as we move on, another nice interview we were able to capture in part this week. We go into another cold place. So we live in the UK. Watch, I think one of the arrows. No. Yeah, one of the arrows in the UK. So we're going from the UK and we're going to Utah and visiting the Trinidad and Tobago officially Bobsleigh team. We say bobsled on this side of the world, but the Bobsleigh team, we had a little talk with them sometime earlier. When was that? That was yesterday or Monday. The day is blurring, boy, Skipper. But they are currently participating in Park City meet for bobsled, 4-man and 2-man bobsled. But I must admit and apologize for beforehand. We had a bit of a technical issue in the process of recording. We had a little power thing. for lack of a technical term, we had a power thing, and some of the recording was irretrievable. So I think we got them, or we got back connected in the middle of the interview, going into the question I asked was for them to describe their first race. Once the team was established, right? So we had let me see, who did we have there? So they introduced themselves, and we had, let me see, 4-man. So I'll give you the names of the of our boys. So we had Axel Brown, who is the team captain. Let me see. Axel Brown, team captain, officially pilot. Zavery Williams, Shaquille John, and Mika Moore. On screen, there was someone else whose name I don't have up here, and we'll correct that before we end today. But let's go straight in. Remember, this is the middle of the interview. We'll get them back. Like I said, currently they're doing a North American. They're participating in the North American Cup in Park City, Utah. So we couldn't get them today, but I promise we'll follow up with them, and we'll get into it with them and talk about the preparations for Winter Olympics and how things going. So I think we're ready to run into that, but before that, we have a little preview. So this is how the thing happened. This is how we hook up the interview with the bobsled team and echo the content so people could tune in and support. And speaking of which, I want to make a special request, our first official request from the TTOC. I want to interview the Winter Olympics team.
Okay, well.
How we go hook that up? Link it.
Now, the team, or which team? Because it's 2 individuals, and then bobsleigh still has until the end of sometime in December.
Well, look at
to actually qualify. So I don't know whether or not who is the team.
Link it. I want primarily I was thinking of the bobsled team, but which other Winter Olympic disciplines
they have 2 alpine skiers.
Skiers?
Yes.
Nice. So that was me being kind of bold face. We had Miss Diane Henderson, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee (TTOC), on a couple of weeks ago, and your boy jump out himself and kind of bully the woman, but requested kind of aggressively an interview with the bobsled team. Who were currently preparing and for qualifying for Winter Olympics. So they're in the process of doing that now. Remember what I said? We had a little glitch, and the interview is truncated. So we heading into that now. It's still good stuff. Was a still fun discussion. So let's go over to that now. And how did you do, honestly?
So our very first one would have been, again, Whistler kind of 4 years ago.
Right.
Where we were battling with all sorts of problems with, it was back when you needed to be the correct COVID vaccine to get into Canada and all of these different nightmares.
Right.
So we were kind of battling with all of that stuff through. I had to get a couple of my previous British teammates signed up to our team, because the easy way of putting it is that the nationality of the team is done via the pilot. And so at that time, I was able to kind of get some brakemen on board to help us qualify, because Shap couldn't get into Canada because of visas and vaccines and stuff. Again, yeah, nightmare. So we kind of didn't really find our feet really until the last kind of set of races before the games, which started where we are right now in Park City 4 years ago, where we were kind of able to actually properly race rather than just trying to cross the finish line. And I believe we got sixth there. To be honest, 4 years ago, can't remember exactly, between sixth and eighth there. And that was our first kind of all Trini race towards Olympic qualification.
Right.
At this place 4 years ago, yeah.
Right. So in your first meet to finish in the top 10, that's fantastic.
Much more recently, I think you could kind of talk about our first World Cup race, which was this group minus Micah, who kind of joined us this week.
Right.
We had our World Cup debut in St. Moritz in Switzerland last winter, which was really, kind of, that was big for us to be a four-man team on the World Cup. I believe it was the first time that Caribbean sled had ever been in the World Cup for four-man. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I believe it was. And we just missed out on the 20th place, which gets you a second heat by, I think, like a couple of hundredths of a second behind Liechtenstein. Like, it was a real close one on our debut. So I think that's a big milestone for us as a career, and it was this group here that did that.
Nice. I'm glad you mentioned the margin, because I'm a Formula One fan, right? So when I came up on the website doing research just to do this, and I went through the score sheets, the official results, and I seeing, well, the difference, the minute differences that or margins rather, that you all guys qualify and win by. That's really precise. But I want to ask the fellas from Trinidad, right? How are they dealing with our cold, boy? Because to prepare, I'll tell you, to prepare to do this, right? I want to get myself in the zone, right? So I turn the AC all the way down, and your boy trembling here right now in AC. So how are you dealing with our cold out there?
I'm supposed to do the interview in a freezer.
Nah. It wouldn't be humane for me to do myself that. How are you dealing with our cold in this close fitting suit?
At the beginning, it was really difficult because obviously coming from a warm country, so that's jumping into this cold weather. It was pretty challenging for most of us.
Well, that's no. Oh, you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We're in the snap.
We're in the snow. With every passing season, it gradually becomes better and not more easier to tolerate.
Nice.
So it's been,
Yeah, I mean,
video game. He's the newest one here, so he's adapting well.
Nice, Mika.
Thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram his first run in the bobsled. Yeah, that's not like so what is the speed? What is the speed you guys get at on a proper run?
So it depends entirely on the track. You'll know from your Formula One fandom that each track is different. Each track has kind of different speed corners and stuff. So it depends entirely on the track. Whistler, where we were last week, you can just shy of 100 miles an hour on a really good run. Right here, where we are now in Park City, is another fast track. So we're looking for kind of 85 miles an hour tomorrow, in fact, when we're racing.
Right, but I guess the perspective, I mean, you're not in a car, and but to be moving, because I could remember the little box cart days when you're making a probably wasn't even making 15, and you're going down the hill and it's scary. So to be hitting 85 and upwards miles per hour.
Yeah.
And this thing that you could just fly off if you make the wrong move, if your weight shift the wrong way. That only has some balls, boy. Hey, it's a bad segue, but speaking of which, you all are in very close quarters in this. in this right, you're running, you're jumping, and you all very close up in a very odd position that you don't. It's a position you're not really accustomed to getting into very often, if at all. What was was that a barrier to gain over or getting comfortable doing the sport, or did you just say, yeah, what, there's just part of it and let me just do it? Was there a discussion?
For me, but it wasn't really, I assure you, you will be studying more or less like getting on safely than you rubbing up on your so you're not even conscious of that when you go in them miles per hour. So
right.
I was normal.
To be fair, it only lasts a minute, so under a minute, so you really think about it that much.
Yeah,
right, okay, yeah, but in practice as well, you're practicing going in, coming out, going in, coming out. I guess it's just the physical closeness of it, because I don't think any other sport you get that close with your teammates. Well, and I could tell you all comfortable being close anyway, because that is what. Yeah, that is what a two-seater couch and you all fit. Nice, man, nice. It's very interesting to see how you guys took to this thing. As you said, Axel, we looking at what, a 4 or 5 year period that you all establish yourselves in this particular discipline. That's admirable. It speaks to your discipline, your training, and I guess your innate athletic ability. Because I guess you have this sport comprises of like what, weightlifting, a kind of way, power weight stuff, athletics, the run, and real good reflexes.
There's kind of three aspects to the sport, really. The sled itself and the equipment that we use. So you have to have equipment. There's the drive, which that's just me doing the driving, and that's where kind of reflexes and pattern recognition and all that stuff comes into play. And then you've got the push, which is what we do as a team. And yeah, the key aspects to that are kind of speed and strength, which then equals power. So we're looking to to take track athletes and get strong, or strong athletes and get fast, and just this 200 kilo sled moving as fast as we can before we load in and get real close.
Right. And what was the distance between the start of the run to when you get in? Is that up to you, or do you have to pass a certain distance before you could get in, or do you have to get in before you pass a certain distance? If you understand what I'm asking.
Technically, you can run it as far as you want, but the start is generally 55 meters. That's where the kind of finish time ends. There's also on the ice 2 grooves that the runners go in. That's the plate on the underneath of the sled. So that keeps you in a straight line. Once those run out, the sled can slide back and forth. So you want to make sure that you're in and down and kind of stationary by the time you come out of those grooves.
Right.
And that's generally around the 55 meter mark.
Right. I guess to keep the center of gravity even, I suppose. But listen, this thing real interesting. What else I wanted to ask all your boy? What is the relationship with the Jamaican bobsled team? The rivalry start here?
It grew closer yesterday because in the 2-man race, they won. We came second.
And you came second, yeah.
First time ever that you've had a Caribbean 1-2 in the sport of bobsled. Ahead of Canadians and Americans and all of these teams, and we're stood at the top of the podium. That was pretty special.
Yeah, the irony, right? But let me see. I have the times here for the 2-man, right? So Jamaica, why they have this split? Why they have 2 times at the end? Oh, I guess top speed, right? So, nice, man. So you all in trash talk for each other yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're legitimately happy for each other that we're so competitive right now because we're not supposed to be, right? We're Caribbean nations in bobsleigh. We're not supposed to be anywhere near the medals, let alone the top of it. So we're happy to see them succeed. They're happy to see us succeed, and that's pretty special.
Nice.
Honestly, we walk out on the block, they would come up to us and be like, "Good luck today."
Nice, yeah. I mean,
they would stand it up and root for us, and we would do the exact same.
Yeah. Knowing that we all come from the Caribbean to come and compete in our winter sport, might as well support each other and get through to qualify.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I definitely admire that. I mean, I asked it tongue in cheek because I saw the video with you guys congratulating each other on the podium, and I really admire that. Especially, as you said, Axel, you're beating Canadians and people and Americans and people who have a tradition in the sport, and is real good to see the 2 territories being so groundbreaking and excelling so well so soon. So what does the future hold? I know you all have some more Park City racing tomorrow. That's 4-man or another 2-man or something else. 4. All right. Okay. So where could we I guess I'll follow up with TTOC as well. But where can we see the meets that you all participate in? You have any idea?
Yeah, the race tomorrow is streamed on YouTube. It's not particularly it's not televised. It's just the track security cameras essentially with commentary over the top. The next time we're kind of on the bigger stage would be the World Cup on, I believe it's the 13th and 14th of December. Right. Will be in Lillehammer, and that'll be streamed on the IBSF YouTube.
Yeah. I'm seeing the World Cup coming up here. But you all do a lot of traveling too. How many games or things locations rather you all have been to in recent months?
So we started training. We had a pre-season in Calgary. Mm-hmm. Then we went back across the Atlantic to Lillehammer for our pre-season sliding.
Right.
That's Norway. And then back across all the way over to Vancouver for the next set of pre-season and then the first races. We're now down in Utah in America. Then we'll be back over to Norway. And then after Christmas, we're back out to New York State. After that, we go to Austria. And then hopefully across to Italy for the Olympics. But just so to put it in context, we're going to spend about $30,000 on flights alone this season.
Wow. That's a lot. But I mean, you're all making it worth it, I must say. It's not like you're not coming back empty-handed. But you're also giving Santa Claus some competition with all that traveling, boy.
It's been that map behind you is looking a lot like our travel plan, to be honest.
Oh, right. Yeah, might as well give all you some bag and some packages to drop stuff. Oh, you know what else I wanted to ask you? I really like your branding, because if I saw correctly, the sled is called what?
Yeah, so we've now got a couple. So Shadow Benny is the 4-man.
Is the 4-man Shadow Benny?
The 2-man's called Uni.
And the what?
The 2-man's called Uni, but that's a name from back in the day before the Trinidad stuff.
Right. Okay. So the sleds are christened and all of that and retain the names. Yep. Oh, like boats. or planes are I should say, since they have a pilot, right? And the nickname of the team is the Soca Sliders.
Correct.
Nice one, man. Listen, I'm real proud of all you. Like I said, this was a special request. This is my first special request at the TTOC and Miss Henderson. So thank you very much for making it happen officially. We proud of all you, boy. I mean, it's a novelty for us to see this happen. I mean, just you guys participating is one thing, but the success and the dedication and the camaraderie is also beneficial results, right? And of course, the medals and the performance. I wish all you all the best. We look forward to your qualifying for the Winter Olympics and seeing you guys on the big stage. Give our love to our Caribbean brothers from Jamaica, and keep going strong. We proud of all you. Thanks for giving us your time. I know we had to slip in between schedules and things. Thank you for being gracious and staying up to have a chat with us. Yeah. So any words you want to leave with the people? Any social media stuff you want to promote and get people on board for the next set of meets?
No, I think the best way to kind of stay in touch with what we're doing is our Instagram or Facebook pages, both of which are TT Bobsled.
Right.
I think that's the best way. That's kind of where we put everything, results and upcoming things. So it's the best way to stay in touch with the team. And yeah, we're gonna continue to do our best to qualify in Milan. It's still a real scrap to get that spot. Even though we're on the podium of races now, we're still having to fight for every point that we can get. And hopefully, come January 18, we'll know that we're qualified or not. But obviously, we're sincerely hoping and doing everything within our power to be on the right side of that.
Yeah, well, with this trajectory, I've no doubt that'll become a reality. One last question: the other countries stand to coast on all year, what? A little thing. There's not move when you're passing, and you can. I like it. Nice. So keep that performance going, fellas. Like I said, you're on a real good trajectory. We appreciate your time, and we wish you the best. Thank you for joining us on International, man. You're making the thing real. Yeah. Stay up. Thank you. See you later. Yeah, good luck.
We got to clear up this snow that's on. Thanks, man. We'll catch you later.
Yeah, man. Yes. And there you have it. See my eye. Right. So there you have it. Another one in the bag. Watch me. This show is like South Park, By Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, we don't know if we have a show. But thank you again, first of all, to TTOC for organizing that interview. I promise we'll touch base with those guys again before the end of the month, probably at the end of their 2025 campaign, and we'll catch up with them and see what they're up to. Sorry, we lost power in between, but we don't have a generator, which is why we need donations to raise funds for equipment to keep the thing running smooth, right? So you'll get a donate 68 ad before we go to remind you to check the link that is pinned in the YouTube chat and the YouTube chat, and make a donation so we could bolster this thing, right? Donate 68. Who else was in the chat, boy? Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do the housekeeping. So quickly, housekeeping from last week. Big up the people who were in the chat last week. Let me see. We had Macasey Joseph, Donny, Netza Jack, Pun Zentat. Pun was in the chat last week, boy. Shucks, we had to catch up with Pun. Pun is a man always moving around. We'll call him next week. Who else? Who is on today? Ariana John, hello, good day. Oh, I think that is it for today. Thank you to all the people who tune in live and pay attention and give a little support and a little word and thing. During and after the fact, we really appreciate it, and we taking your comments and compliments seriously. Wells, we didn't have I guess the guest winner this week. I catch all you. But last week's winner, Tamu Harewood, your gift is on the way. Trust me. He's also in the UK, so he will need what we send in. Trust me. And that is it. We're making some room for Nelly Couture and DJ Shorts with the midweek zest. We're going to warm up the place a little bit. Go ahead and change the AC setting too. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. See you all next week. I don't know who we have in next week yet, but we're definitely going somewhere warm. Right? So take care. Thank you for tuning in. Bye. Peace. Yeah, man.